you a little short for a
What's up, nerds? Welcome to another episode of the Multiverse Report. We are recapping episode 11 of Star Wars Andor, from Segra, Milo, all the way back to Ferrix and everywhere in between. My name is Mike Gibson. With me as always, Steve Haller. What is up, Steve?
Tony Gilroy's stock. That is what is up right now, because he's still 11 episodes into this thing, killing it.
Yeah, I've seen numerous tweets, numerous posts on social media begging for Lucasfilm to go back to the original 5-season plan for Andor instead of they decided to cut it to 2.
Oh, to break it out year by year by year?
Year by year by year, yeah. And I think that might have been the original plan. And then Tony Gilroy had a conversation with Diego Luna. It's like, we're not going to be able to do this, right? Like, we're just getting older, and you're not going to look like you're 5 years younger than you were at the end of Rogue One for too much longer. So how can we really do this? So they decided to break it into 2 seasons. But now that season 1 has been so excellent, I think people just want more. They just want it to go longer, you know. Maybe at least give us, like, can you stretch it into 3 seasons? Can you give us 3?
Right.
Maybe, you know?
Or
I'll take 3.
Like, even if they don't, like, commit to signing up for another project.
Yeah. Well, I think we talked about it before, but I did hear a rumor that Lucasfilm is talking to Tony Gilroy about coming back for something else.
Oh, okay, good.
I read some article somewhere weeks ago about that. Obviously nothing official, but that would be great. But like, the sad part is, I think people want to stretch this out, 1, because it's great, but 2, because, I mean, I loved Cassian in Rogue One, and I love him even more seeing this show. I think he's an incredible character. He's one of my favorite Star Wars characters, hands down. He was not necessarily that after seeing Rogue One, but after this much of this season, Cassian Andor is one of my favorite Star Wars characters. I believe one of the best Star Wars characters that there is. And to know, I think it's heartbreaking knowing that there's only 1 more season of a show with this character, and then we can literally never see him again.
Yeah. That is kind of crazy to think about.
It sucks.
Yeah.
but it's gonna be great. It's gonna be great at the same time.
If past is precedent and this season is portending what happens next year, like, it's going to be a ride, and it's going to be a good one.
Yeah. Yes.
So at this point, we've gone 3 minutes without even, like, touching on anything outside of Tony Gilroy is good.
All, yeah.
But yeah, Cassian as a character, like, I left Rogue One thinking, okay, that was a solid, like, I enjoyed his character.
Yeah, I get
the whole turn, the whole, like, no nonsense into helping Jyn, etc.
Yep, he's been in it for so long. He's jaded. He doesn't feel the hope anymore. He's just in it to do the job, and he'll do anything he needs to do.
Right. But going into it, much like Solo, I was like, do we need this? Like, why do I?
Yeah.
And also, much like Solo, I'm coming out of this like, yeah, no, okay, I like this.
Yeah,
this is fine.
No, I didn't need it, but I feel like that's like the main. A lot of people will ask that question when a studio announces something, whether it's Lucasfilm with Rogue One and Solo, or whether it's Marvel with Agatha Coven of Chaos or something. Like, do we really need this? Is that really who cares if you need it? Is it going to be good?
They're
Do you like it? Like, that, it doesn't matter. Like, you don't know. Sometimes you don't know what you need, right? Sometimes 100%. Fans don't know what they quote unquote need.
Everybody thought they needed the Book of Boba Fett.
Sorry, say that one more time.
I said everybody thought they needed the Book of Boba Fett.
Yeah.
Nobody realized they needed Andor.
Nobody thought we needed the Mandalorian. When they announced the Mandalorian, everybody said, why aren't they just making a Boba Fett show?
Right.
Then everyone loved the Mandalorian. Then they announced the Boba Fett show, and everyone said, why isn't this just season 3 of Mandalorian?
And then lo and behold, it was season 2.5 of Mandalorian.
And it kind of was, yeah. But anyway, yeah. So, like, you know, general fandom, this is my general plea to the fandom. Enough with the do we need this question. No, you don't need anything. You don't even need a sequel. You don't even need Empire Strikes Back. Star Wars is great. But you got it and you love it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So just, settle down. Anyway,
so
penultimate penultimate episode of Andor season 1.
Mm-hmm.
Wildly good. Very intense. Stakes are high. Things are in place. Biggest, I guess, the catalyst. Well, we start out with them with Cassian and
I
what's
love
this
that
dude's
whole
name?
scene. Cassian and Melchi.
Melchi.
Yeah. Clinging
This,
to a cliff. Again,
yeah,
them making us realize what the Empire, like a TIE fighter patrol, feels like.
yeah, yeah. What these people are willing to do
Yeah.
to avoid it, and that's something that like they did in Rogue One too. But like seeing it even more so here, just like, oh, this is like a real thing.
Mm-hmm.
People are, this is the Empire causes people to would rather spend hours clinging to the side of a cliff than to risk even slightly risk getting caught
Right.
by the Empire.
Lo and behold, so they find a quad jumper, which was a nice nod to Force Awakens.
Yep.
When they were trying to steal the quad jumper and instead settled on the Falcon.
Oh my God, you're right. I did not think of that.
Mm-hmm.
Genius.
So they start running for this quad jumper that these two Narkinian fishermen are like, it must be theirs, and it's like the whole scene I absolutely loved because they run and then they just get captured. Like there's no ifs, ands, or buts. They're just like, oh well, we're screwed.
Yep. This episode was bookended by the two most Star Warsy scenes in this entire series so far. And not that the other, I mean, this show has, from minute one to where we are now, has completely felt like Star Wars. It's not like something that doesn't really feel like it belongs in the universe. It 100% has felt like Star Wars, but also just hasn't done a lot of like classic Star Warsy things. No real space battles or hyperspace jumps or like, things like that. I mean, I guess there was like a hyperspace thing in the very first episode, but still, we've talked about this on our reviews. It's not, they're not just like cramming Star Wars stuff that you love in your face because they know you love it and you expect to see it all the time, which is, I feel like, what a lot of the other shows have done and what some of the movies have done.
Well, they could have taken this whole thing, like everything we've seen, they could have taken and set on like Corellia or something and been like, oh, the prison's in the big, or just outside the city and they have to get back there.
Yeah.
And like they're using the galaxy, but they don't have to. Which is,
and they're also expanding the galaxy by not doing it in places we've already seen before. But like this scene, like I don't think there's been a scene with weird aliens in the show so far. I feel like this is the first one where there's two main characters, or characters that are interacting with Cassian that are like, yeah, these are not humans.
Yeah, you may have seen someone in the background or like in a crowd, like an alien in a crowd or something like that. But to be front and center, this is the first time we've seen that.
Yeah, I mean, I guess he has a conversation with like a Twi'lek in the first episode,
right?
That,
and
like,
his the bodyguard there. Remember when he has the run in with his buddy that he owes money to, and he brought in the big guy.
Yeah, I forgot about that.
Yep. Yeah. But yeah, in general, it's been a very, conversation driven person.
Yeah, it's like there were no aliens in that prison. There were no aliens in the heist, like on that
it's the Empire. They probably just killed them all and then put everybody else in the prison.
Right. But the fact that there's like weird aliens, they shoot weird net weapons at them, and then it ends with them taking off in a spaceship.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, this is very Star Wars.
Right.
But again, I loved because it fits it further into it like reminds you like, oh yeah, this is a Star Wars show. Yeah.
Oh, and the whole the interaction with the Narkinians, like the way they were just assuming, well, they came from the prison. I guess, they've got to be part of that.
Yeah.
And the realization that no, we also hate the Empire. Oh, okay. Well, we'll take you to Narkina. Why not?
Right. Yeah. And the fact that that's enough for them to be like, yeah, okay, let's, we can have the ship or whatever. Yeah. Let's go. Yeah. Yeah. Loved it. And then the big kind of catalyst for a lot of this episode happening is we find out that Cassian's mom has died.
Yep.
His mom has passed away. They told us that she was sick in a previous episode, which I had kind of forgotten about. I'm glad that they reminded us in the previously on because I didn't remember that scene.
B2 is the MVP.
my God,
How
really took a
how
few steps up on my favorite droid
yeah.
ranking. I think
Like
B2.
how does a droid almost like move you to tears?
I
Because
know. Jeez.
it's
Well,
like
I
a
think it's like, I mean, R2D2 and BB-8, arguably the cutest droids,
yeah,
but they speak in beeps and boops.
right.
And this is like similar to an R2 style unit, the way he's built,
Yep.
but he speaks. And I think like that's the combination where you get the cuteness of an R2D2, but you also get human speech that conveys even further emotion. So
Right.
it's
As
like
opposed to the
double
deadpan
the
3PO or any of that like
yeah, exactly.
yeah.
Yeah, like 3PO, he can speak, but he's not cute and
Right.
he's not emotional really, besides being terrified
Right.
of everything or nervous.
He's very different
Um,
emotional.
yeah, and like that dumb droid from Rise of Skywalker, Dio, like
Yep.
I guess he's kind of cute, but he's not cute enough, and his
Doesn't
speech isn't
doesn't quite
enough to
speak
make him.
enough and
Yeah, exactly. Yeah,
he's
he's
he
not enough in
he
any
wanted
way.
to be B2.
Yeah. Anyway, yeah, B2 EMO or B2 emo.
Living up to his name.
Yeah, just really an incredible performance from that. I'm talking about him like he's an actual actor.
Oh yeah.
Um, uh,
But even
yeah,
even whoever was running the motion on him, like the I'm for all the problems of Short Circuit, uh
yeah,
and there were plenty of them. It had a
yeah.
very Johnny Five like
Yes,
kind of
yeah,
movement to him.
yep. I know exactly what you meant.
Yeah.
Yep.
And that
And he's
worked
always
very
been,
well.
yeah. And I mean, they kind of set him up early on as being like emotionally connected to the people in his life.
Yeah.
Like when Cassian comes back, he's like, Cassian, you're back. You're home. When are you coming
Right.
home? And you're like, he's like always excited to see the people that he
Yeah, he's
loves.
like the little brother that's like, "Oh,
Yeah.
hey bro, you're back. When can we
Right.
hang out?"
I mean, and speaking of characters that cannot move forward, after the finality of season 2 and what we know in Rogue One,
Mhm.
Cassian being a character that we're going to get a final endpoint on. I hope we see B2 again. Like, there's
Yeah.
no reason that a droid just can't show up somewhere else.
No. Well,
Like
and I
R2's
think
been around for 60 years or whatever.
right. I think we'll end up seeing like him and probably Cassian's buddy there later on or brought into the rebellion
Oh yeah,
or
yeah.
so.
I do remember from a long time ago. I remember originally they were gonna have K2SO in
season 1.
season 1, and then for some reason, I don't know if it conflicted with canon or whatever, but whatever, they bumped him to season 2. So I
Right.
believe that we are going to see K2SO proper, voiced by Alan Tudyk, in season 2.
The tease with
which is not
the other Imperial droids was nice though.
Yeah, that was cool because it
Like-
immediately you were like, "Oh, is that going to be
Huh?
K2SO?
Oh.
No, is this going to happen?" Nope.
Yeah.
Anyway, we're not talking about the episode that we should be talking about.
We never
We're talking
ramble,
about
come
past
on.
episodes and general Star Wars stuff, which we love. So yeah, so Cassian's mom has passed away, and it is bringing a lot of our antagonists back to Ferrix. The ISB is sending people back to Ferrix. Cyril seems to be headed back to Ferrix.
Yeah, we find out later that he's contacted by his old buddy who says, "Get your keister back here."
Yeah. And it seems like, I mean, we didn't get confirmation on this, but in the final scene of the episode where Cassian learns that his mother has passed away, it seems like I feel like all signs point to him also going back to
Right.
Ferrix so that we can have this big confrontation for the finale.
Right, and we don't know where Luthen's going, but he's probably heading there too.
Yeah, we don't know where Luthen's going.
No. He just took off, Darth Mauled the shit out of that ship, and called it a day.
Yeah, let's save that for a second.
Yeah.
Because I don't want to forget about an incredible scene with an incredible actress, Genevieve O'Reilly. Holy shit. A lot of people, I can't remember if I've said this in a previous episode, but it's worth saying again. People are saying how good Cassian is, or Diego Luna is as Cassian. People are saying how good Stellan Skarsgård is as Luthen.
Yeah.
But my God, Genevieve O'Reilly as Mon Mothma. I think because her performance is very understated.
Yeah,
but
it's low key, but
it needs to be.
Yeah.
Like, she is right in the pocket of what she needs to be doing, because she is playing somebody who is on the verge of getting caught, knows it, is still doing what she needs to do to help the rebellion, but also on another level terrified that she's going to be caught and found out, and like, what are the repercussions of that going to be. She's like living with that stress every day, and we've seen it increase as the series has gone on, and she's really starting to reach a breaking point.
Yeah.
I think where that scene where she's talking to her cousin Vel and explaining where she is and what has happened and what money is missing and the only way that she can get it back. She is so good in that scene, fighting back tears,
Yep.
just delivering a very intense, like, I'm in trouble. I know I'm in trouble. I did it to myself. I don't think I would change it, but I'm terrified.
Yeah.
I'm in a lot of trouble right now, and there's only one way out, and I don't want to do it.
Right. And that's and this comes after Vel, her conversation with Clea.
Yes, you're right. Thank you for reminding me of that scene.
Because that whole thing, you know, Clea is trying to play it up, trying to play off how Luthen would have,
Right.
of, you know, make it seem like a buy and all that, and you're doing it wrong, and like you're going to give it up and calm down and don't do this, and that whole dynamic was very, very interesting to see, especially after she was the one that gave Vel the, you know, orders to find and kill Cassian.
Yeah, you're right.
So again, something else that's probably coming to a head next week or Wednesday.
Yeah, I guess. Oh yeah, because she knows that Cassian's mother died. Because Cinta is still there watching him. I think it's great that Cinta and the Imperial spy are both like based out of the same bar, basically.
Right. Yeah.
Cinta's working there, and the Imperial guy is just like drinking there all the time. They're both staring at the same house. That's really, it's really great. I'm very excited for the season finale, which is close to an hour long. I think.
Is it? Okay.
Yeah, it's like 50 something minutes. But again, you know, 7 of those minutes are going to be credits.
Right.
So.
Oh, the Mon Mothma scene too. You had that entire because, you know, like you said, Mon doesn't want to give her daughter up effectively to arranged marriage like she currently got stuck in. But also there's this weird traditionalist underpinnings of Leda
that the
and
daughter
her group
is
of friends that are like pining for old Chandrilla, I guess.
Right.
And it's a very, very strange dynamic.
Yeah, because she's in this crazy position now where if she were to agree to this, oh Jesus, I'm knocking shit over. If she were to agree with this guy's proposal, whose name I don't remember, about arranging a marriage
Davo in
exchange for the release of her money, her daughter would probably be excited about that because she's into the old customs and she's like kind of preparing herself like traditionally. She would probably be into that arranged marriage. She would probably be thankful to her mother because if she's like devoting herself to that, then that's something that she would want. But Mon Mothma knows the reality of it because she has lived it and doesn't want that for her daughter, despite what her daughter thinks she wants for herself. So she's in this weird position where she's like, I could get away, quote unquote, get away with it probably because my daughter is expecting that, is, you know, preparing herself for that kind of, but I just don't want to subject her to it.
Does her daughter want that, or is she just doing it because Mon Mothma
to make her mom mad?
Right.
Yeah.
Like standard petulant teenager thing of like,
that's true.
I don't actually want this, but my mom wants me to do it, so I'm not going to do it.
Or so my mom doesn't want me to do it, so I am going to do it because I'm doing it because I know it makes my mom angry.
Exactly.
Yeah, good point. Yeah.
Because I mean, we talked about, I think you brought it up a couple weeks ago, like, is like, does the daughter actually, like, will she ultimately have like rebellion underpinnings or something? And
Yeah.
like, yeah, there's this whole level of that family is just going to be a weird what ends up coming of that whole situation, because
Yeah.
there's so many balls up in the air right now.
I will be very interested to see where that storyline ends, where the Mon Mothma storyline ends in end of season 1. Because I've heard from like whatever other canon that there is around Mon Mothma that she ends up having to flee Coruscant.
Yep.
At some point.
Well,
Because
that
I don't know if they
was that
do
Rebels?
find. Oh, I don't know. Was it in Rebels?
I think it was in
I don't
Rebels,
remember.
wasn't it? Where she had to.
Maybe it was. I don't remember.
She resigned from the Senate and had to leave.
Oh, I gotta rewatch Rebels.
Yeah. I know it was in one of the animated.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So
we know she.
So if that's coming, I don't know if
that's gonna
happen in the finale.
Oh yeah, well, timeline on Rebels is, pretty much coinciding, isn't it? It was 5 years.
It's right around the same time, right? It's like 4 or 5 years. Yeah, so we're in the ballpark. But I know something tells. If it seems like that would be too quick to happen in the finale. It seems like we'll get a resolution on her money being released or whatever, or maybe not. Maybe they'll maybe it won't, and they'll find out about the discrepancy, and she will have to leave. Who knows? But it seems quick for her to leave the Senate, knowing that there's still 4 more years before Rogue One and A New Hope. So who knows? Who knows? But anyway, that storyline is very intriguing to me, and so is the one regarding Luthen and Saw Gerrera and Krieger.
Krieger, who we still don't know.
Who we still have never actually seen, except we saw a hologram of him.
Right.
In this episode.
Okay, so just for confirmation though, Rebels season 1 episodes 1 through 7 are in 5 BBY, which is where we currently are.
Wow. Okay.
So the rest moves forward from that.
Okay, so it'll probably be season 2 when she's forced to leave Coruscant.
So she'll at least remain a senator through
the end of this episode.
Wednesday.
Yeah, through Wednesday. Yeah. Cool. Okay, so Luthen goes to see Saw Gerrera. And damn, I really loved Forrest Whitaker's performance as Saw Gerrera in this episode. I thought he was great.
They keep surprising me with like you said, Genevieve O'Reilly, like Diego Luna's killing it. Stellan Skarsgård has been a delight to watch.
Charts good. Yeah.
And then Forrest Whitaker comes through with like the not crazy Saw that we've seen, but also the not like Rebel Saw or Clone Wars and Rebel Saw that we also saw.
But he's on the way.
Yeah.
He's on the way to Crazy Town.
Yeah.
And even that, like, Luthen straight up says, like, hey, concentrate, look at me, concentrate, talk to me, something like that. Like,
bringing him back.
Luthen knows that he's like on the edge of sanity. Which is great. I don't know, like it's really cool that they're like keeping that mapped out for him. He's a character that we've met in Clone Wars. We've seen him evolve through that series and into Rebels and into Andor, and then we see obviously what happens
where he ends up in Rogue One.
Yeah.
And that it's the ability for them to the whole conversation, apparently, I mean, Luthen's conversations recently have just been off the charts. Yeah. But the whole conversation with him and him explaining to Saw the rationale for why he's doing something that Saw would do without even thinking.
Absolutely.
That for some reason Saw has consternation about.
Yeah.
Like if the tables were turned, Saw would 100% let Krieger die. There's no two ways about it.
Absolutely.
And him laying it out there, and it was almost a make it think it's your idea type situation.
yeah, almost.
So
almost, but it's also the thing that's like it's not his idea.
Right.
So his instinct is to rebel against it, I think. And I feel like that's fitting for his character as well. And him kind of testing him. It's like, hey, that guy's my source. He tells me everything.
Right.
Goes
2
like,
tubes of all the people who's like his Saw's right-hand guy.
Yeah.
And then you also realize that Luthen's not fucking around when he mentally can get this guy to trigger and then have him run at him, draw that guy's sidearm and hold it at Saw, and everybody's just like, wait, what just happened?
Yeah.
Like,
yeah.
hold
Oh
on.
shit! Now I have a gun pointed at my face. Yeah.
Right. Like, he's disarmed. Now there's a gun at me. Something's not right here.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. So that scene was great, and I hope. I mean, I don't know this. I assume that we'll see Saw Gerrera in season 2 as well. But I hope that we get a continual kind of evolution of his character.
Right. His downfall. Well,
And I feel like
mental
it's going to be
downfall.
harder because they're doing, because season 5 takes place over 4 years, so there's going to be considerable time jumps within that season. So it almost makes it like harder to show certain things almost,
Right.
because you don't have an entire year to tell a story, or an entire season to cover an entire year. You have, like, 3 episodes to cover a year or whatever. So how much time can they spend to Saw Gerrera when you're trying to focus on, Cassian, Luthen, Mon Mothma, which I feel like are our 3 main characters, really more Cassian and Mon Mothma, but also Luthen as well.
Yeah.
So anyway,
right, Luthen I thought was going to be an afterthought after, like, in the first couple episodes.
Yes.
And that's turned into might be my favorite plot line of this whole thing.
Yeah, when Luthen shows up in episode 3, I was like, oh, this is the big cameo Stellan Skarsgård episode, and then we'll never see him again. But nope, he's in it, and he's crushing it. And speaking of him, my God, I mentioned earlier the bookending of 2 scenes this episode that are very Star Warsy. We got our first pretty legitimate space battle in Andor at the end of this. So he's got his little rinky-dink ship.
What they call it, Hallcraft?
Hallcraft. And he's cornered by not quite a Star Destroyer, or is it like a proto Star Destroyer?
Like,
do we know?
Because they have, there's the Star Destroyers, there's the interdictors that have the gravity wells that keep you from jumping.
Oh,
and then this is a smaller thing with just a giant tractor beam on the front coming out of a big dish. I don't know if a Arrestor class, maybe?
Yeah.
I'll look that up.
This sequence was awesome because it was intense, and it just made sense that it would happen. Like, of course, like eventually, you're gonna run into a border check, or someone's gonna, ask you who you like. He's all over the, like, it's gonna happen. So it makes sense that he would get detained because he's acting weird, and he's not necessarily where he should be. It doesn't really make sense for this ship to be flying in and out of where it is at the time that it is, or whatever. So yeah, you're gonna get caught. And the fact that he tried to run when he was already in a tractor beam, super badass. It's like, screw this, I'm getting out of here. But then the whole, like, opening the vents and letting whatever
the chaff,
so destroy the tractor beam thing, genius. So cool, so cool.
Oh yeah. And then, like, using the code to buy the time to get his defensive systems online. Because like, when you're flying around, I'd assume, like, from other Star Warsy things, when you're flying around, you don't have your guns powered up because people can detect that. Like, here's this ship that has way too many turbo lasers on it. This isn't right. Let's bring him in for questioning.
Exactly.
So you fly under the radar, and then you got to power everything up. And apparently he used that to, like, use we need some time. Massive reactor leak in Sector 5. Don't come up here.
Large leak, very dangerous.
We're all fine. How are you? So just buy some time, and then, like you said, the whole chaff drill was amazing.
So just cool.
Take out the tractor beam dish with giant shards of whatever.
Yeah, genius. So cool. But then they launched some ties, of course, as you do when you're the Empire.
Right.
And this one, I turned to my wife, I was like, this is the most Star Warsy shit that we've seen in this entire series right now. This is like, they're like giving it to us. And it's not like I've been waiting for it, like, when are you going to give me a dumb space battle? Come on, Andor. I haven't cared at all. If I had got no space battles, I would have been totally fine. But I was like, oh shit, now we get these characters that you made me care about, or this one character. in a space, like it means so much more because we haven't had it in every episode or whatever, you know, like they took their time getting us to this point where we're finally seeing this thing that is synonymous with all Star Wars media ever.
And it fit.
And it is more exciting because
Yeah.
we haven't seen it yet. So good.
Yeah.
And like you said earlier, yeah, he somehow, I don't know what technology that is. Well, because it's fake, but also we've never seen it before. Somehow has a double laser, possibly lightsaber tech. I mean, assumingly lightsaber tech of some kind, or double laser come out and he spins the ship around, takes out 2 TIE fighters at once. God, that was so cool. And then just hyperspace is out of there. Damn.
Yep. Yeah, Luthen definitely had the mic drop on the episode with that.
Yeah. I'm sure that, you know, it won't be Tony Gilroy, but somebody will figure out the explanation for that technology and what it is, and if it's kyber crystal based, or whatever. Right? But very cool, very, very cool. Also speaking of ships, I don't know. I noticed that when Luthen was being brought to Saw Gerrera, they had some either old or being built or being refurbished X-wings on the property or whatever.
Fun fact, not X-wings.
What? They look like X-wings.
They were the precursor to X-wings. They are Z-95 headhunters.
Oh, of course. Why didn't I? How come I didn't?
The only reason I know that is because they had in the X-wing miniatures game, the Partisans flew them.
Okay.
So
sure. So what distinguishes them from X-wings? Because they looked exactly like them to me.
No S-foils. They don't split open.
They don't split open.
Yep,
Okay,
it
that's
just
the only
stays
thing.
locked.
Okay. Say what's the call sign again for that ship?
It's a Z-95 Headhunter.
Z-95 Headhunter. Okay, cool.
Yep.
Love it.
Here with you for all your random, stupid Star Wars information.
And then at the end, we get Cassian going back to retrieve his still hidden money, which is...
Because nobody looks above a shower in...
Yeah, because the maid service
apparently.
in that hotel is terrible, apparently. So he goes and retrieves it. I love this. He's sneaking in. There's a sleeping alien on the bed. That was great.
I thought there was 2 sleeping aliens on the bed.
Yeah, you're right. There were 2 sleeping aliens. Yeah. Gotta love how this show is the first Star Wars show to canonize sex.
Yeah.
Really.
Yeah.
You know, like, there was a scene in one of the early episodes where like Vix and the guy that got killed, I don't know, were
Tim,
like hooking up
with 2 M's.
Like, yeah. I mean, I guess Padme is pregnant, so I guess, you know, but they don't they don't talk about it or show it or even infer that it had happened in any way.
Padme's pregnant from the guy who was an Immaculate Conception, so who knows?
Exactly.
Like, she's literally, like, she's carrying the baby of Space Jesus, so what do you...
Yeah, who knows?
Everything's out the window at that point.
Yeah, that's a good point. But anyway, yeah, he retrieves his weapons and his information and his money. He's able to call home, finds out that his mother is dead.
Oh, this is an everybody stealing back their money episode, wasn't it?
Yeah,
because Cyril took his mom's stash.
You're right, he did. Yeah, got the hell out of there. And says a warm goodbye to Melchi. Is it Melchi?
Melchi, yep.
Melchi. Melchi saying people have to know about this. People have to know about this, and Cassian is agreeing. But I feel like I still don't know how close Cassian is to joining officially signing on to the rebellion. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because there's still an element of him that is like, I'm just trying to look out for myself. But you know, we don't know because he hasn't had a ton of dialogue in this. He didn't have a ton of dialogue in this past episode, and the dialogue he did have was about like what was happening right then and not reflecting on his prison time or anything like that. And I feel like maybe we'll get that in the finale. So yeah, he says a affectionate goodbye to his friend, who we know they will meet again at some point on Yavin, if not before. And just kind of stares out over the ocean, similar to the ending of Rogue One, looking out over the ocean.
Yeah, it's his
seemingly going to head back to Ferrix.
His binary sunset with one sun and an ocean.
Yeah. Yep. Also like the weird. There's a strange funeral tradition on Ferrix.
Oh yeah.
They burn you and turn you into a brick and build you into a building.
Right. Totally makes
Kind of
sense.
weird. Yeah. I feel like it makes like new construction like terrible. Like if you're like, we're gonna tear down this old building and build something new. Like,
Right.
well, okay, all of
But
our
Bob's in
ancestors are
there.
in that
Like
building.
we can't
Yeah.
break Bob up.
Yeah, my mom is in there. What? No. Or if they do, they have to like give you the brick.
Right.
You know what I mean?
You got to take everything out brick by brick. And like, all right,
Yeah.
let's return this to Mike's family and
Yeah, we're gonna rebuild.
yeah.
Or maybe I don't know. Maybe they just deconstruct instead of like demoing it.
Right.
Maybe they just completely deconstruct it to like preserve all the bricks.
Who knows?
Maybe we'll find out next week when we go back to Ferrix, assumedly. That's all I got. This episode was great. I'm sad that there's only one more, but I'm happy that they are filming season 2 currently.
Yeah, absolutely.
So, my wife and I already have plans to rewatch Rogue One, following the end of season 1 here, because it's just made us very excited to rewatch that movie.
I don't even know if my wife has watched Rogue One.
Oh, is she watching Andor?
No, I told her to get into it though. Like,
there's a reason for you to.
Right.
you to
Yeah.
rewatch it,
Worst
yeah.
case, I get to rewatch something I've had way too much fun watching. So
Yeah.
okay.
I was selling it to my band. Played at a show last night, and we were talking. And there's me. There's 2 other guys that do watch this kind of stuff, and there's 2 other guys that don't really watch this kind of stuff.
Yeah.
And the 2 other guys that don't, I was kind of selling it to them in a way that they seemed very interested. I was like, you literally don't have to know anything.
Right.
But like, if I just told you that this show was about a guy living a normal life, realizing that he's under the thumb of a fascist regime and being radicalized to join a rebellion against it, you'd watch that. It sounds like a cool like sci-fi show, right?
Oh,
yeah,
it's very
also
much
happens to be Star Wars.
Right. It's very much up one of the guys you're talking about's alley, and the other one you convinced to watch Doom Patrol. So I think we
Right.
could
Yeah.
probably work on
Exactly.
this.
Yeah. Exactly. So anyway, that's all I got. This show is great. I love it, every second of it, and I can't wait for the finale, which we'll be talking about next week.
Absolutely. And if you're watching us on Twitch, feel free to follow us. If you catch this on YouTube, like, subscribe, ring the bell, leave some reviews for us, comments, questions, concerns, qualms, anything else you feel
These
like.
reviews on YouTube have been doing pretty well, like way more than normal. I think most people listen to this podcast. More people listen to it as a podcast than watch it on Twitch or watch it on YouTube. But the YouTube views of these are like
more
triple
than anything we've done.
Our regular episode views. So like, thank you for watching these. We really appreciate it. Thank you so much. And please consider subscribing either to our YouTube channel, as Steve is saying, or to the podcast feed.
Absolutely. And if you want to listen to our dulcet tones in your ear holes, feel free to subscribe to us on your podcast listening device of choice. That was very hard. And leave us a review there and try and trick the algorithm into getting more people to hang out with us.
Please do. And if you are watching us live, stay tuned. We're about to do our weekly recap regular episode of Nerdy News, so stick around for that. And until then, thanks for watching, thanks for listening, and we'll see you in the multiverse.